Okay, plot twist, we're not doing the whole cautious USB test thing anymore. So where we left off at the end of part 1, I was basically 99% committed to switching this PC over to Linux Mint Cinema. And there was one thing holding me back, which was this guy. So that's my GoXLR Mini. And that was a potential deal breaker, because if that doesn't work, then I've got to rip that guy off its 3D printed mount and come up with some sort of a replacement solution. So then the whole setup falls apart basically. So since then I posted about it, and somebody pointed me to a full community project that's basically porting the full GoXLR app to Linux basically. It's an open source replacement, actively supported, and apparently even a bunch of Windows users are using it instead of the official software. So honestly, that's good enough for me. That was the last real barrier, so we are doing this tonight. So before I nuke this Windows install, I'm just going to do the grown-up thing and back up what little local data I actually have. Most of my stuff already lives on the NAS anyway, so this isn't some huge migration. I'll just copy over desktop downloads, anything else that looks important, into a temporary shared folder on the NAS. No point backing up Steam or applications, they can just be re-downloaded. And then once that's done, Windows 10 on this device is officially living on borrowed time. So this part is just prep, quick backup, sanity check, and then in the next part in 2 seconds we're going to actually install Mint Cinnamon and see if this whole plan was a terrible mistake. Okay, so the next step is actually making the Mint Cinnamon boot USB. So I've already got my 32 gig USB stick plugged into my computer. I've already used this for a few Linux installs. So I'm just going to format this. I think there's a character limit on the volume label, but Mint should be fine. I'll just format that. Like I said, this is going to be my daily driver, so this is kind of like playing with real fire this time. Formatting was successfully completed. Volume information, file system FAT32, capacity 29.24 gigabytes. Okay, that's perfect. I'm on the official Linux Mint download page, and if I just go to download and download mirrors, I already downloaded the file from one of the world mirrors. So just check up here. You see Linux Mint 22.3 Cinnamon 64. So that is perfect. It's about 2.5 gigabytes or slightly less. And so next stage is just to open up Belina Etcher, flash from file, grab the ISO file, select target. That's going to be our D drive. So that's the USB stick. Select one and flash. And we're going to allow that to make changes. And so this entire process should just take a few minutes. So, Belina Etcher has done its thing. I'm just tapping F11 while the computer's restarting, and the Mint boot disk is plugged into the computer. Okay, So we have a bunch of options here. So the first option is Windows Boot Manager. The second option is UEFI SanDisk. The third option is UEFI SanDisk Partition 2. The third option is SATA1. The fourth option is SanDisk. And the last option is Enter Setup. And I had tried to restart this a couple of times, and the boot disk hadn't shown up at all, but this time the USB is detected. We just need to pick the right entry. So I think that's going to be the first option here. So UEFI SanDisk. So what we want is Linux Mint 22.3 Cinnamon 64-bit. So that's going to be our first option. And we're just going to work our way through the setup. So there's our Linux Mint logo. Okay, so after a few seconds of that, the first option was to boot Mint in normal live mode. So we've got a full desktop environment here. Mouse feels pretty good. We're just in the live environment now, booted off the USB stick. But we're actually going to install this on the computer. So the next move is to go up here and actually install Linux Mint. Okay. So from here, we're just going to work through the setup screen. So we've got a little welcome screen. We're going to choose English and continue. Keyboard layout, English UK, continue. We're going to install the multimedia codecs, thank you. Preparing Ubuntu drivers. Multimedia codecs are required to play some video formats and to properly render some websites. So, this computer currently has Windows Boot Manager on it. What would you like to do? Erase disk and install Linux Mint. Ooh, yeah, that's what we want to do, alright. I have backed up everything onto my NAS that I need. Let's just do this. So erase disk and install Linux Mint. Okay, install now. I've clicked it, there's no going back. Right, changes to disks. If you continue, the changes listed below will be written to the disks. Okay, continue. Where are you, Dublin? Close enough. Okay, I'm just gonna pick my name, computer name, and password. Okay, so I've picked a username and a password. Incidentally, one thing that I was slightly worried about was how Linux Mint was going to handle my USB hubs. So I've got a Sabrent 90-watt USB hub plugged in at the back of my computer here. So all my peripherals are plugged into that, and then it runs via a USB-A to Type B cable into the computer. And I wasn't 100% sure that Mint Cinnamon was going to pick up on that device straight away, but it hasn't even installed fully yet on the hard drive, and my keyboard and mouse are obviously working just fine because I just typed in my username and password without an issue. So it looks like that isn't going to be a concern at all, which is nice. And right now it's just copying the install files over, and I'm gonna come back when it's finished. And just like that, it's finished. You can continue testing Linux Mint now, but until you restart the computer, any changes you make or documents you save will not be preserved. Please remove the installation medium, then press enter. Okay, so Linux is installed, Windows is gone, that's it. It's 1 a.m, so this feels like a great time to leave it for tonight, and tomorrow me is probably going to wake up and go, oh Jesus Christ, what have I done? Possibly also screaming into a pillow. We'll find out tomorrow when we pick this up. Okay, so